Alright, it's time for me to talk about another Adult Swim show. And today I'm going to talk about probably one of my favorite shows that I feel like kind of gets overlooked a little bit because they don't show it that much anymore. And that's Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law. And I wish that blurring effect wasn't super bad, but I have the Mad Men Entertainment release from Australia. And it's basically just your standard, all the volumes in one set. That's basically it. I don't need to show you this. You guys have seen enough of these to know what this is, but just know I have it right here. Um, but shout out to my Patreon supporters for letting me buy this for my collection. That's ever growing, but Harvey Birdman is kind of a really weird um, show. I'm not gonna call it Harvey Birdman Attorney at Law. I'm just gonna call it Harvey Birdman, just to make it easier. But anyway, the show is very very weird, but it is also very very funny. So if you're not familiar with Birdman, Birdman was part of the classic Hanna-Barbera era of like the superhero cartoons they had. And Birdman was part of a show called Birdman and the Galaxy Trio. And I'm not familiar with Birdman at all, so um, like the original Birdman, I'm more familiar with this over here. But I assume most of the villains you see in Attorney at Law are in the original Birdman. But know that it's basically a spoof on his original like design and idea, I guess. But basically, Birdman or Harvey Birdman, and I'll explain how I think his name came about in a second, because he never had a real first name in the original cartoon. But Harvey retired from being a superhero and wanted to get a real job, so he became a lawyer, and so that's basically what the show entails is him being a lawyer, taking cases of multiple different Hanna-Barbera cartoon characters and weird like offshoots of spoofs of people and just does court proceedings and stuff like that, all in like a really comedic fashion. But to cover where Harvey got his name from, to go back to Space Ghost Coast to Coast. There was an episode, and I believe I mentioned it in the Space Ghost episode. There was an episode where Birdman took over this like the Space Ghost show, and it was called Birdman Coast to Coast. But um, basically, in the episode, they were looking for a host, and one of the crew people calls Birdman Harvey. So that's probably where they got his name from, was from that Space Ghost episode. I would imagine, because I would imagine a lot of people that worked on Space Ghost also worked on Harvey in some capacity. I'm not sure though, but I would imagine so. So anyway, so Harvey Birdman, basically, like I said, it's a spoof on like a bunch of different Hanna-Barbera characters and likenesses of people and different things. One of the most memorable episodes for me is the Scooby Doo episode because the episode starts with Scooby and Shaggy in the Mystery Machine, and they get pulled over by police, and I guess they were driving erratically or something like that. They don't really say why they were pulled over, but eventually they just say punch it, and because it's either Shaggy says punch it or Scooby says punch it, and they like speed off, and then you see the cop like pull out his service weapon and start shooting at the car. It's really freaking weird, but it's funny, and that's the opener part of the episode. Um, but in that episode, it's implied that or they think that Scooby and Shaggy are on drugs, and that's why they were stopped because they were laughing and nervously giggling and all that stuff. And so Fred and the rest of the gang all hire Harvey to defend them. And the funniest thing about the episode is the voice of Fred or Fred Jones from the original Scooby Doo is the original voice actor Frank Welker. So, and everything that Fred says, it's coming from the original voice actors, like mouth and voice. So it's really funny to hear him like comment on how stupid like Shaggy and Scooby can be. That they're just stupid. And they laugh and giggle all the time because they get nervous and they're goofy or whatever. It's just funny to hear Fred mention that like Shaggy and Scooby are goofy and they're stupid. And Peanut, one of the characters that gets introduced early on in the show, is like attracted to Daphne. So that's really funny. Like he starts saying a lot of like sexy French phrases, or like not like sexy French phrases, but like sexy, like a sexy type French accent with like French words like Chateaume sucks. It's like really weird. I don't know. It's really funny though. But yeah, it's really funny because then the episode ends with like Scrappy coming out and then Avenger just swooping down and like basically eating him because Avenger's like a giant eagle or like eagle falcon type bird. I'm not sure what he is. I think it's like a falcon or an eagle, but he basically takes Scrappy away and like I'm assuming eats him. So that's kind of funny. I don't know because I never really liked Scrappy Doo to be honest. But then you have characters like Apache Chief with the hot coffee when he spills the hot coffee. Then you have guest stars like Stephen Colbert does the voice of Falcon 7 or Falcon 7. That's who it basically is a spoof of. Falcon 7 was Birdman's, like, I guess, boss in the Birdman Hanna-Barbera cartoon. And he just says the most, like, raunchy, like, horny stuff, but it's hilarious because it's Stephen Colbert. And his character is just so funny. And then you have John Michael Higgins, who voices Ben Talk the Mind Taker, he does a fantastic job of doing Men Talk. Um, his character's really funny because he can mind read and basically take people's minds and read them and make them do things that he wants them to do and other things like that. So, um, he's a really funny character and he does a lot of funny weird things. One most notable thing that always sticks in my mind about Men Talk is the part where in the episode with the Jetsons, when the Jetsons are suing, like, I guess, like, people of the earth or whatever, or I forget what it is, who they're exactly suing. They're suing because they ruined the future or whatever, or something. And so Elroy, who's voiced by Tom Kenny, actually SpongeBob, and he literally sounds like SpongeBob, by the way, which is really funny. But Elroy can apparently I guess apparently knows what who Mentalek was gonna like call to the stand and stuff like that. And Mentalek was trying to prove him wrong by lying about. He's like Mr. Foos, Mr. Foos, and he kept trying to say the wrong thing, but he couldn't do it because like I guess he can't lie, or he couldn't lie because he's a judge. You can't really lie if you're a judge. You have to tell the truth. So he called the Mr. Freezoid to the stand. Stan Freezoid is the name they gave him, and there there was there was a there was one part where they showed like a really attractive lady at one point, and like they show Elroy's hat popping off like to signify he was like getting aroused by it. And that's always like, oh, you didn't see that coming, did you? I don't know. That part just always makes me laugh because I'm like, wow, really? They made that kind of joke about Elroy, but it was really funny. Um, but then you also have like X the Eliminator that wants Birdman's crest, and then later on they introduce Philkin Seven's daughter, Bird Girl or Judy, who did happen to get her own spinoff, which I'll briefly talk about it in this video because I don't really want to do a separate video on Bird Girl because there's not really much to talk about with it. So I'll talk about that towards the end of this video. But yeah, overall Birdman is pretty funny and pretty good. If you like raunchy humor and like you just want to see really weird situations with like Huckleberry Hound and I think Huckleberry Hound's in one episode. Speed Buggy, Droopy, there's a few other characters. But if you want to see what's his name? Oh, I can't remember his name. He's in the Huckleberry Hound show. I can't remember his name though. Let me look his name up real quick. Give me 1 second. Okay, it was Dana Lane. I can never remember his name because I never really watched Huckleberry Hound growing up, but it was Dana Lane and Yankee Doodle's in there as well, I believe. Let me look real quick. Yankee Doodle, was he part of? I think he was part of Yankee Doodle Duck. What was he a part of? So he was a part, yeah. He was mainly a part of Top Cat, it looks like. But Yankee Doodle Duck is in there too. But that episode's not as funny. But anyway, so that character, and of course Boo Boo Bear's in there, and trying to see if there was anybody else. And yeah, Dum Dum was in one episode. I'm trying to see if there's anyone else, but Dana Lane, I forget what the context of the scene, but they find like nude pictures that he has in his like jacket, and he's like daddy pictures, and it's hilarious the way he says it because it sounds almost exactly like the character from the original show, and I'm pretty sure it's not, but it's a really good character like impression of him, and it's hilarious because they reused that line again towards the end of the episode, like the end of the series. And it's just like dirty pictures. It's hilarious. I love it. But the Yankee Doodle one's kind of funny because he wants to change his name because he hates being called Yankee Doodle. I forget what he wanted to be called. It was something really weird. But that's actually Steve Bloom, the voice of Spike from Cowboy Bebop. So that's kind of weird. that he did voice work on that. And I didn't even know that. And I've met him once before, so if I would have known that, I would ask him to do the one line that Yaki says, because they actually don't bleep it, which I was surprised by because you can understand what he says, but the character talks with like a heavy lisp, and he calls Birdman a stupid shit. I believe that's what it sounds like, but they don't bleep it because it's really hard to understand what he says. But I think that's what he calls him. It's just really funny to hear him say that because it's a really Steve Bloom does a really freaking good impression of Yankee Doodle. And then the one Boo Boo Bear, the one with Yogi Bear and Boo Boo Bear, that was hilarious because it's like a soap opera type thing at the end where like Birdman shoots Boo Boo Bear with like his like solar powered stuff that he uses. He gets his power from the sun, and he can do like shots from his arm or whatever. And he shoots him, and then Phil runs in because Birdman is like crying. He like cradles him. He's like, "It's over, baby." Like it's a soap opera. I'm like, what? It's just so funny. I'm gonna put some of those clips in so you guys can see them because they're hilarious. I'm gonna put some of these clips in right now. Okay, so those, like I said, those are just some of the clips. I don't want to post a lot of them because I don't want like Adult Swim to get pissed that I'm posting pic, clips in this video. But God, that's probably one of my favorite lines in the entire show. But to end this video off, I'm gonna quickly touch on Bird Girl. Bird Girl is, I don't really want to say it's a spinoff of Birdman, but it is. But it has nothing to do with like legal stuff. It's her like running her own thing. Like she starts this her own like business as part of like 7 and 7 or something. I don't remember how because it's really hard to like talk about it because I've only seen both seasons that have been released once, so I don't really remember too much of it. But I do remember it being pretty funny. Like just Judy altogether is just a pretty funny character. So it's a pretty nice one-off spin-off of Birdman. But it's not anything like to write home about. But I think Birdman is definitely a standout. But this video would not be complete without me talking about the PS2 and Wii and PSP game. And to put it in a nutshell, it's basically you play as Birdman, you're solving cases, and you're basically proving innocence or guilt. And I think there's like four cases or something like that. And it's basically a set of like Ace Attorney, but like it's a pretty fun companion piece to Harvey Birdman. So if you have a PS2 or Wii or Wii U or PSP laying around, you can pick the game up for like 10, $15. It's definitely worth it. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about Harvey Birdman and Terminator All. Did you guys watch it? Do you guys enjoy it? God, I love that scene. Daddy pictures. And the droopy scene, I guess, with when he gets the bad Botox job. Oh my god. But yeah, I'm gonna have to heavily edit this video just to put some of those scenes in there. So, hope you guys enjoyed what you guys saw. Thank you guys for watching. Again, thank you guys for supporting me on Patreon. You guys are awesome. I really do appreciate it. Shout out to go to my Patreon supporters. Matt Y99, Reaper7734, Title Cow, AJ Gadawa, Oliver Frederick, Zoa Adfi, It's Me, Charlize, Joe, William Swift, Drift17, Charles McKeon, Reverse Security, Zoom Hall, Artistic Tamak, Preliab, Just True, Ariman Singh, HHG Fan, George McConnell, Elliot Scott, Benjamin Dillon, Magad Lewisaro, and Vic Gomez. Thank you guys so much. And by the way, that was mostly off the top of my head too. I'm fairly impressed by that. But I've been rattling your guys' names off for like the past 10 videos, so they're in my head now. So anyway, guys, thank you guys for supporting the channel. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much. Again, I appreciate it. Thank you to all my membership people as well. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Peace. Daddy pictures. I freaking love that line.